one of the professors during orientation, we haven't even started law school yet, this is orientation. And the professor says, look to your left, look to your right. He says, one of you is not gonna make it. And so I did. I looked to my right and I looked to my left. And the only thing that I could think of was, I'm not gonna lose. Again, because having been a former athlete, being very competitive, I'm like, I'm not gonna be that guy. But I did a little research. And what I found in this research is tied to the look to your left, look to your right, only one of you is gonna make it. And all of you in this room are very, very good at what you do. And if it's not, it should be your dream to play at the next level. But only 2.5% of high school players eventually play in college. Of the 25,000 college athletes, only 1.5 get drafted in the NFL. And of those 375 football players that make it in the NFL, only 0.3% become all pros. Now that's important to talk about in this room because having been a former teacher, I can tell you that you can't play football forever. Ask Tom Brady. He played for a long time, but eventually, because he was very successful in other areas, football is not something you're going to be able to do and rely on all your life. You're going to have other skills other than football to be successful. What made me curious and what makes it relevant to me being up here today talking to all of you, I said, well, what are the lawyer stats? Only 63% of high school students go to college, but only 25% of those that go eventually graduate. But how many of that 1 to 2% become licensed? 0.8%. How many minorities, like the mayor and myself, like your daughter, how many minorities actually become practicing lawyers who worked in the fields as a migrant farm worker? How many? What is that stat? Far below 0.1%. What I am sharing with you is very important because what did being in sports teach me? It teaches you perseverance, determination, grit, resilience, discipline, teamwork, sacrifice. Those are all of the qualities that I learned as an athlete. And even though I wasn't a very good one, it taught me all of those things. And it is learning all of those things that when I became older and I went to law school, for example, I knew that I had to compete. I knew I had to be resilient. I knew I had to overcome obstacles. I knew I had to overcome setbacks, like my father dying after my first semester in law school from cancer, knowing that I had to keep going because that's what he would want me to do. Being able to basically adapt to a new environment. I was one of maybe, Jackie, you know this, one of maybe 10 Hispanics in law school. I had to adapt. When they said my name for the first time in law school, Jesus, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, like that's a lot of pressure, you know, because nobody ever called me Jesus here, they called me Jesse. But in law school, I was Jesus, and the students laughed. Because there was a bunch of gringos in there and they're like, Jesus? Jesus is in the room? But you have to adapt. You have to adapt. You have to overcome. And all of those things I learned because of sports. That same professor gave us this story too. He said that he was watching TV one day and that the reporter, after a marathon, said, I knew you were going to win. He's talking to the guy that won the marathon. I knew you were going to win. You have the look of the willingness to win. You had the look of a winner. And the guy says, really? That's why you thought I was going to win? He goes, put that screen back up. I want to see that video again. Show it to me. He goes, look at the guy next to me. In fact, look at all those faces. They all have the look of somebody that wants to win. I'm looking across the room and I'm seeing all of you athletes. All of you have the look of a winner. But just simply looking the part is not going to make you a winner. It was the willingness to prepare that made me win today. So my challenge to all of you here today, more than anything, to have the willingness to prepare to win more than ever before so that you can be part of that 0.3%. Congratulations to all of you.